We're told fast fashion is the villain and luxury is the investment. But Italian investigators found Louis Vuitton bags cost under $150 to make and sell for $3,000 plus, a bigger markup than Zara's $30 shirt that costs about $5. So what if the real scam isn't fast fashion, but luxury? Let's be honest. The narrative is incredibly seductive. Luxury brands like Louis Vuitton sell us a dream of unparalleled craftsmanship, of French artisans meticulously stitching every seam, of a heritage so profound that the bag you buy today will be proudly carried by your granddaughter. They represent the pinnacle of quality, ethics, and lasting value. On the other side of the tracks are fast fashion brands like Zara. We're told they're the industry's villains, disposable, trend-obsessed, and propped up by unethical labor practices. The advice is always the same: buy less, but buy better. And better always means expensive. It's a neat, simple story, and it's completely falling apart. If you're tired of being ripped off by brands that sell you a fantasy for the price of a used car, stick around, because today we're pulling back the curtain. We're going to dismantle this myth piece by piece and expose why that cheap Zara t-shirt might just be a more honest deal than the Louis Vuitton bag of your dreams. The absolute core of the luxury promise is quality. You're paying for something that will last. But for anyone who has paid attention over the last decade, that promise is ringing increasingly hollow. Just look online. The internet is littered with horror stories about Louis Vuitton. We've all seen the pictures and the videos, the infamous cracking canvas on brand new bags, peeling glazing on handles, and hardware falling off items that cost more than a month's rent. Customers complain that the quality of Louis Vuitton has plummeted, while prices continue to skyrocket for the exact same products. It's become so noticeable that a common piece of advice among seasoned luxury shoppers is to only buy vintage pieces from before the mid-2000s because the quality was simply better. Think about how insane that is. The primary selling point of these brands, their legendary quality, has eroded so much that their new products are considered inferior to their old ones. The promise of artisanal, handcrafted value is being replaced by mass production realities. While you're picturing a master craftsman in a quiet French workshop, the reality is often a production line designed to meet soaring demand, where quality control is an afterthought. The result is that Louis Vuitton is now selling a ghost, the memory of quality, but not the quality itself. And they're charging you more than ever for it. This brings us to the biggest, most indefensible part of the luxury scam: the price. We all know luxury goods have a high markup, but you'd assume that a multi-thousand-dollar price tag reflects, at least in part, the cost of materials and labor. You would be wrong. In 2024, Italian authorities investigated a series of suppliers for LVMH, Louis Vuitton's parent company, and the findings were staggering. They discovered a Dior handbag, which retails for around $2,800, cost a mere $57 to produce. Let that sink in. $57. The rest? That's for the marketing, the celebrity endorsements, the fancy storefronts, and of course, the massive profit margin. You aren't paying for the product. You are paying for the brand. This isn't an isolated incident. These pricing strategies are standard practice. Just look at the Louis Vuitton Speedy. The price of a Speedy bandoulière went from around $1,115 in 2011 to nearly $2,000 today, a 75% increase. Brands claim they are adjusting for inflation, but these hikes far outpace any economic justification. Quick pause. If you're finding this video interesting, make sure to subscribe. It supports the channel big time. All right, back to the video. These aren't just price adjustments. This is a deliberate strategy of artificial inflation. They are hiking prices to maintain an illusion of exclusivity, turning the item into a Veblen good, something that's desirable because it's expensive. The price tag has become the product. They are testing the limits of what a consumer is willing to pay for a logo. And so far, it has worked. But it has also exposed the truth. The value is not in the bag, but in the brand's ability to charge you for it. Okay, so the quality is declining and the prices are astronomical. But at least you're paying for ethical production, right? At least you're not supporting the kind of labor exploitation associated with fast fashion. Again, the reality is much darker. The same Italian investigation that exposed the cost of bags from LVMH brands also uncovered the human cost. Bags were being produced in Chinese-owned factories in Italy that were found to be exploiting workers, some of whom were undocumented immigrants forced to work grueling hours in unsafe conditions, even sleeping at the factory to be available 24/7. In some cases, safety devices were even removed from machinery to speed up production. And this is not a one-off scandal. In 2025, another LVMH brand, Loro Piana, was placed under court administration for violating labor laws after it was discovered its suppliers were enabling worker exploitation. The truth is, the fashion industry's supply chain is notoriously opaque, and this applies to luxury just as much as it does to fast fashion. Many luxury brands, including those under the LVMH umbrella, use the same exploitative systems to cut costs. They're just better at hiding it behind a veneer of prestige and a Made in Italy label. The idea that a high price tag automatically equals high ethical standards is a dangerous myth. Both ends of the fashion spectrum are often sourcing from a system rife with exploitation. The key difference? Brands like Louis Vuitton have managed to largely avoid the public scrutiny that is constantly and rightly leveled at fast fashion. So if luxury is a house of cards, where does that leave a brand like Zara? Before we make any comparisons, let's be perfectly clear about one thing. The environmental nightmare fast fashion is an environmental disaster. It is one of the world's biggest polluters, responsible for up to 10% of global carbon emissions. That's more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. The industry, powered by brands like Zara, consumes enormous amounts of water. Washing synthetic clothes releases hundreds of thousands of tons of microplastics into the ocean each year, while a garbage truck's worth of textiles is landfilled or burned every single second. The honesty of the transaction. So, with that horrifying context, how could anyone argue it's better in any way? Well, it comes down to a single narrow point. Zara is more honest about what it is. When you buy a $30 top from Zara, you know exactly what you are getting. You are buying a trendy piece of clothing for a low price that lets you participate in a current style. There's no pretense of it being an heirloom. There's no illusion of it being a lifelong investment. You pay a little, you get a little. It's a straightforward transaction. The value proposition is transparent. Because the financial investment is so low, the sting of disappointment is minimal. Nobody buys a Zara top expecting it to last for 30 years. The annoyance you might feel if it fades or loses its shape, is nothing compared to the feeling of betrayal when a $4,000 Louis Vuitton bag starts cracking after a few months. Zara isn't trying to sell you a legacy. It's selling you a t-shirt. Its honesty lies in its complete lack of pretension. The blurring lines. Making matters worse for luxury, the very business model it once decried is the one it now secretly copies. Luxury used to be defined by a slow, deliberate pace, 2 main collections a year. But today, brands like Louis Vuitton are operating on a fast fashion calendar. They are churning out pre-fall, resort, cruise, and countless capsule collections, all designed to create a constant sense of newness and drive a relentless cycle of consumption. The lines have blurred to the point of being meaningless. Zara is famous for its hyper-fast model, dropping new designs twice a week and producing over 450 million items a year. But now, luxury brands are caught in a similar cycle of overproduction, sometimes destroying millions of dollars of unsold merchandise to maintain artificial scarcity. In essence, luxury has become fast fashion, but with an absurd price tag. It encourages the same trend-driven consumption, but does so while pretending to be above it all. Zara is open about its model. Louis Vuitton increasingly is not. If you're finding this breakdown insightful and want more content that challenges the way you think about fashion, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us continue to make videos like this. So, is Zara actually better than Louis Vuitton? If by better you mean higher quality materials or more ethical production, the answer for both is a murky, uncomfortable no. The entire industry is deeply flawed. But if better means a more honest and fair value proposition for the consumer, then the answer is, surprisingly, yes. Zara, for all its many very serious faults, does not lie to you about what it is. You know the price, you know the purpose, and you accept the terms. Modern luxury, on the other hand, is increasingly built on deception. It sells you a story of quality that is no longer guaranteed. It charges a price that has been artificially inflated beyond reason, and it hides behind an ethical facade that crumbles under the slightest scrutiny. With Louis Vuitton, you're paying a fortune for a gamble. With Zara, you're paying very little for a certainty, a cheap thrill that comes at a massive environmental and human cost. The real, better option isn't choosing a side, but demanding more from both. It's about recognizing that the price tag, whether high or low, tells you almost nothing about the true cost of your clothes. But I want to know what you think. What's the worst experience you've had with Louis Vuitton's quality? Or do you have a Zara piece that's lasted you a decade? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video on screen.